In the unsettling shadows of human nature, a sinister few have carved their names into the darkest corners of history. Their tales are chilling, their acts are unimaginable, stirring up nightmares in our collective consciousness. Welcome everybody as we journey into the twisted world of the most notorious serial killers of all time. Pedro Rodrigues Filho. Pedro Rodrigues Filho was a Brazilian serial killer, spree killer, and vigilante known for pursuing and killing exclusively suspected criminals as a teenager between the ages of 14 and 19. In particular, he claims to have killed an entire gang in response to the murder of his then pregnant girlfriend. Rodrigues was born on a farm in Santarém do Sapucaí, south of Minas Gerais. His skull had been bruised as a result of his father kicking his pregnant mother's belly during a fight. He claimed that he felt the urge to kill for the first time at age 13, when in a fight with an older cousin, he pushed the young man into a sugarcane press, almost killing him, and had considered leaving him there to die, but he ended up saving his life. Cause bro, 13 years old, you already killed your cousin? What the fuck is going on? At the age of 14, Rodrigues shot the deputy mayor of Santarém do Sapucaí in front of the city hall for having fired his father, who was then a school guard, over accusations of him stealing food from the school kitchen, which prevented him from gaining another job.
It is unclear if Antonio Procopio da Costa is the man Pedro killed, but he is the only man listed as a mayor of Santa Rita do Sapucaí during the time in which Pedro would have been 14 years old. Considering his term was cut short of the normal 4 years, serving from only May 8, 1964 to January 31, 1967, I can say with some confidence, I think this is the man.
Now, after that, he ended up shooting the security guard who he suspected was the actual thief, and he ended up using his grandfather's shotgun in both of these murders. On the run, Rodrigues took refuge in Mogi das Cruzes in Greater Sao Paulo, where he began robbing drug dens and killing drug traffickers, making him a local celebrity in the news media, and basically they called him Pedrino Matador, or Little Killer Petey. Rodrigues soon met Maria Aparecida Olimpia, nicknamed Bochia, and they began living together. Rodrigues took on the duties of the deceased in a local street gang and was soon forced to eliminate some rivals. Killing 3 ex-cronies, Bochia became pregnant with his then child, but was murdered shortly thereafter by a rival gang leader. Still underage, Rodrigues escaped, going on a revenge killing spree by tracking down and killing every member of the rival gang. At the age of 19, Rodrigues was arrested for the first time on the 24th of May 1973 and lived in prison most of his adult years. Police records show that he was once transported in a vehicle with another prisoner while both were handcuffed. During transport, Rodrigues killed the other inmate without the police even noticing. When they opened the car door and saw the other prisoner was dead, Rodrigues said that he did it because the man was a rapist. Can't really blame the guy. Although he was sentenced to 126 years imprisonment, he was actually released in 2003 because Brazilian law at the time prohibited anybody from spending more than 30 years behind bars. This law was actually changed to 40 years back in 2019.
Why did my father kill my mother? Because they told him that my mother had betrayed him. It was a lie. My mother was the holiest woman in Brazil. It was a lie. And then my father goes and destroys my whole family. He killed my mother. I was already in jail. He didn't kill my brothers because they escaped and the neighbors helped them. He was gonna kill everybody. I killed my father in jail. I was already in jail. I was in jail for 42 years. And he was afraid of me. He was afraid that I would take his life. So he waited for me to go to prison to kill my mother. No, I spoke at my mother's funeral. The judge allowed me to go. It was close to the jail, so I went. I was handcuffed. I swore revenge in front of my mother's coffin.
And there is a story about the heart?
But I just chewed. I cut out a piece of his heart, I chewed. Because I had said I was going to eat his heart. That's what I did. It was revenge. But I didn't swallow, I chewed, and threw it over the body.
And after staying in prison for 34 years, Rodrigues was released on the 24th of April in 2007, and he was reported to have moved to Fortaleza in Saria. On the 15th of September 2011, Rodrigues was arrested at his rural home in Balneário Camboriú, where he was working as a caretaker. He was sentenced to 8 years on charges such as riot and deprivation of liberty, which was committed while he was still detained in São Paulo. He was released for good behavior on the 10th of December in 2018 after 7 years. And since his second release from prison in 2018, after announcing himself to be reformed from his self-declared vigilantism as a youth, and he committed to basically not committing any more crimes. Rodrigues was considered a Brazilian celebrity and YouTuber, maintaining a YouTube channel called Pedrino X Matador,
which since his death was rebranded to Tupi Entretenimento.
Commenting on modern crimes while educating the public that criminal acts are actually not something to be proud of, which a lot of people nowadays, hey, you would never expect. You can go on TikTok any time of the day and see people committing stupid ass crimes. So Rodrigues also heavily inspired the show Dexter. Following Rodrigues' initial planned 2003 release, author Jeff Lindsay began publishing a novel series about a fictional American serial killer of killers, inspired by Rodrigues himself, named Dexter Morgan. The series' success, along with its 2006 TV show and its 2022 revival, led to widespread retrospective media attention being brought to Rodrigues, with him becoming internationally known as alternatively both the Brazilian Dexter and the South American Punisher. First off, if you haven't watched Dexter, check it out. Fire show. I don't even know how to describe it. Fire show. Me and my boy watched it 3-4 years ago. So good. I think I've watched it twice now, maybe 3 times, but check it out. Unfortunately, this year at 10 a.m. on March 5th, Rodrigues was shot and killed by 2 men firing from a car in Mogi das Cruzes, who then fled in another car, and no suspects have been arrested since. So, RIP to Pedro. Yeah, man, he might have killed some people, but to be honest, dude, he was killing other people who were scumbags, so I don't know, kind of karma, right? Alright, so I'm actually going to have my fellow creator, The Nightmare Lab, take over for this second entry.
I want to thank Ian on the internet for collaborating with The Nightmare Lab this week. You can find the video we did together on my channel. Check for a link in the description. Meet Yong, a Chinese serial killer who lurked in the shadows, haunting the lives of innocent teenage boys. Suspected of a staggering 25 murders, his reign of terror unfolded between September 2001 and November 2003. Little is known about his early life except that he worked as a migrant worker in southern China. Once a soldier in the Chinese army, Huang's descent into darkness began after working various agricultural jobs. Huang devised a sinister method to lure his victims, preying on their aspirations for a brighter future. Video halls, internet cafes, and video arcades became his hunting ground, where he enticed young boys with the promises of lucrative job and education funding or dreamlike excursions. Within the confines of his home, Huang's true nature was revealed. He drugged the unsuspecting youths and snuffed out their innocence. Using a rope as his instrument of death, he strangled his victims, delighting in their suffering as he revived them, repeatedly subjecting them to unspeakable torment. His perverse logic lacked empathy or mercy, sparing elderly men for their discernment while shunning women and girls to preserve his twisted sense of self, as he believed killing them would make him less of a hero. His fate changed in November of 2003 when a courageous 16-year-old boy named Zhang Liang dared to challenge Huang's monstrous reign. Drawn into Huang's web with the lure of employment, Zhang experienced a nightmare few can fathom. Thrust into the clutches of his predator, Zhang fought for his life, enduring the agony of multiple strangulations. As consciousness faded, Huang callously taunted his prey, revealing the ghastly truth of his heinous crimes. Liang recalls waking and hearing Huang say,
"I have killed at least 25 people. You're number 26.
Yet in a stunning turn of events, Zhang's resourcefulness and will to survive proved victorious. He had convinced Yong to spare his life. And so the brave Zhang Liang took matters into his own hands, seeking justice for himself and the countless victims of Huang Yong's heinous crimes. He went to the police, but they weren't immediately convinced. Still, he persisted, recounting the nightmarish ordeal he endured at Huang's hands. Zhang revealed how Huang had lured him with false promises of employment, only to subject him to 3 brutal strangulations, Yong reviving him after each one. Miraculously, Zhang managed to talk Huang out of ending his life, and instead, Huang let him go, even giving him money to return home. The police soon came to believe Zhang's story and apprehended Huang. After a thorough investigation, he was found guilty of 17 murders. On December 9, 2003, he was sentenced to death and was executed by a bullet to the head on December 26, 2003. However, the chilling revelations didn't end there. 2 more bodies were discovered in Huang's lair after his demise. Huang described the motives of his crime by saying, "I've always wanted to be an assassin, since I was a kid, but I never had the chance. Such darkness in the human heart is unsettling, but it serves as a stark reminder of the need for vigilance against evil and cruelty in this world.
Up next, we have Tamara Mitrofanovna Samsonova, better known as Granny Ripper and Baba Yaga. She is a Russian alleged serial killer who was arrested in July 2015 on suspicion of committing 2 murders with extreme cruelty. She supposedly has schizophrenia and was previously hospitalized 3 times in psychiatric hospitals, so she's kind of crazy. Samsonova was born on April 25, 1947 in the city of Uzhur, now part of the Krasnoyarsk Krai. After graduating from high school, she arrived in Moscow and entered the Moscow State Linguistic University. After graduating, she moved to St. Petersburg, where she married Alexei Samsonova, and in 1971, she and her husband settled in the newly built panel house number 4 in Dmitriev Street. I don't know if that's like a significant street out in Russia, but if you know it, let me know. In the year 2000, Samsonova's husband disappeared, and she supposedly killed him and got rid of the body, not confirmed though. She appealed to the police, but searches yielded nothing. 15 years later, in April 2015, she turned towards the authorities again, this time to investigate the unit of Forensic District in St. Petersburg, giving a statement about her spouse's disappearance. After her husband's disappearance, Samsonova began renting out a room in her apartment. According to investigators, on September 6, 2003, during a quarrel, she killed her tenant. He was a 44-year-old resident from Norilsk. She then dismembered his corpse and disposed of it on the streets of St. Denis Way. In March of 2015, Samsonova met 79-year-old Valentina Nikolavna Ulvanova, who also lived on Dmitriev Street. A friend of the two asked Ulvanova to shelter Samsonova for a time due to the fact that Samsonova's apartment was actually getting renovated, to which Ulvanova agreed. Samsonova lived in Ulvanova's apartment for several months, helping with the housework, basically doing everything. She began to live in the apartment, wanting to stay there for longer and refusing to move out, and over the time the relationship between the two quickly deteriorated, and Ulvanova eventually asked Samsonova to leave. After another conflict, she decided to poison Ulvanova. Samsonova traveled to Pushkin, where she managed to persuade a pharmacist to sell her a prescription drug, phenazepam. Upon returning to the city, she bought an Oliver salad, which was one of Ulvanova's favorite dishes, then put the pills in the salad and gave it to the unsuspecting woman. Samsonova later found Ulvanova's body lying on the kitchen floor in the night of July 23rd and proceeded to dismember it with 2 knives and a saw. First, sawing off the victim's head, she then sawed the body in half, and then using the knives, she sheared it into pieces. To take out all the bags outside of the apartment, she had to go outside and return several times. Samsonova left pieces of Ulvanova's body scattered throughout the house as well. On the evening of July 26, Ulvanova's decapitated body with severed limbs wrapped in a bathroom curtain was found near a pond at house number 10 on Dmitriev Street. The package initially didn't attract any attention for several days until a local resident took an interest in its contents. I don't want to know how that smelled at all. That thing was outside. Granted, when I think of Russia, I think of it's cold, but bro, that thing was sitting outside for several days before anybody even decided to go up and check, yo, why is this box not moving? The identity of the deceased was established on July 27th after a survey of the apartment residents. When they knocked on Ulvanova's apartment, Samsonova actually opened the door to the authorities, and having entered inside, police found the traces of blood in the bathroom and also fastenings from the tore-off curtain. After this, the pensioner was immediately arrested. On July 29, 2015, Samsonova was brought to the Frunze District Court of St. Petersburg. She underwent a forensic psychiatric examination, and on November 26, 2015, the results determined that she was a danger to society and herself, and therefore she was placed in a specialized institution until the end of the investigation. In December 2015, Samsonova was sent for a compulsory psychiatric treatment in a specialized hospital in Kazan. She is being investigated in connection to a total of 14 murders, and according to media reports, police found a diary which contained details of some of the murders. One entry translated from Russian to English read, "I killed my tenant Volodya, cut him to pieces in the bathroom with a knife, and put the pieces of his body in plastic bags and threw them away in different parts of Forensic District." So, dude, this lady was cold-blooded. She did not care about these people that she murdered at all. Unlike Pedro, I mean, at least he was killing bad people, you know what I mean? He was killing other people that were doing crimes and killing people. This lady was just like, yo, I want your apartment. You done renting out this room to you? Oh, you pissed me off? Word, I'm gonna cut you up into pieces and toss you around. Like, bro, these are the type of people you want to stay away from. Anyways, if you watch this video, watch it all the way through, I appreciate you. Make sure you go check out the Nightmare Labs video too, because we're having a collab on that channel. I'll leave all the links below. And yeah, other than that, appreciate y'all. And go show him some love too. Stay safe, stay dangerous, get laid.
Pedrinho Matador, Pedro Rodrigues Filho, uma lenda do sistema, uma lenda do presídio, maior tempo de cadeia, mais de 100 homicídio, recorde no Brasil, o preso mais temido, só matou quem não prestava, matava pra não morrer, sua vida tava em jogo e aí o que fazer? Ex-matador.